Hey everyone, and welcome to June's edition of the Product Talk podcast. This month, we're focusing on balancing your experience and the end user's experience, hopefully not compromising on either. Here with my co-host Steph. I know she's stoked to be here. I am too. This month, as I mentioned, we're talking about balancing end user experiences and yours. I think there's no more painful experience for an end user than getting the constant notification from Microsoft that it might be time to upgrade to Windows 11. I have one Windows device at my house on a personal device, and every time I boot it up, Microsoft tries to convince me to do Windows 11, and I will wait until the absolute last second to do it. But if you are an IT administrator at, quote unquote, a real business, you're likely having to evaluate what devices are eligible and also handle the upgrades for your users. There is no task worse than trying to upgrade a major operating system. I think there's probably some debate out there on whether or not people prefer Windows process or Apple's process, but the truth is, for major like operating system upgrades, I feel like Windows happens less frequently, and it's therefore a little bit more painful. Plus, there's such a wide variety of hardware that operates Windows devices. Every device is its own special flower. So, if you're just an individual like me, you can put it off as long as you possibly can. I'll probably go into the end of life as long as I'm getting security updates on Windows 10. But if you're working on an enterprise environment, you're likely getting required to start to update some of your environment to Windows 11. And a big part of that is figuring out like which devices are actually eligible for that upgrade, right? Not all hardware will necessarily meet the criteria. And this topic is actually all coming off of some searches that I was running last week, just investigating the general operating system mix in our entire customer base, right? So millions and millions of devices. I was actually kind of surprised by the numbers. We have over 60% of our Windows devices are actually already on Windows 11, which feels really good, really like incredibly high to me. I don't know how you feel, Steph, but most
Yeah,
customers
I'm
I talk to are
surprised.
very scared. Yeah. And I think like, that's 60% plus on such a large sample size is pretty impressive. So I dug a little bit deeper and tried to figure out like the why behind those numbers and like how our customers are achieving that, and wanted to kind of surface some of those materials that we have in product um, to you all, so you can, if you haven't migrated yet and you're like me, you're maybe procrastinating and haven't been required to do it yet, you can start to work ahead with a pretty low overhead of undertaking by yourself as an admin. So there's two different tools that I want to focus on, readily available within the Automox console. So within the Worklets catalog, we have two different Windows 11 Worklets for those devices. The first one is just a readiness check, pretty straightforward, right? So you can just run this. You can schedule to run it. You can run it ad hoc across a group or your entire environment, and it'll write all the results of whether or not the device is ready to upgrade to 11 to your policy results report. So you can actually see which devices are good to go and which you may actually need to like upgrade the hardware in order to fully migrate your environment to Windows 11. That's the first one. The second one is the actual upgrade itself. There's two separate worklets, and they're slightly different flavors of upgrade. It's kind of just dependent on what you as an IT admin and what your organization has chosen to do. The first one is like a hosted ISO. So like the actual operating system file is hosted locally somewhere, and you just point to that drive, and the worklet pulls that file down and upgrades the device that manner. And then the second one is probably slightly simpler, but likely to utilize more bandwidth. And that one is how most people are doing it via Windows Update, which is the actual feature upgrade to Windows 11 via that Windows installation utility. And that's all silent. So most of our customers that are seeing success today are using one of those two flavors, right? They've probably done the Windows 11 readiness check worklet at some point well before. You wouldn't want to just run the upgrade worklet willy-nilly. Um, Obviously, we have checks within that workload to make sure the device is actually ready before we try to upgrade it. But still good to audit your environment and get an idea. Um, and we'll keep an eye on those numbers. I mean, obviously, there's been some announcements from Microsoft around more of the dates with the Windows 10 end of lifing. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll kind of keep everybody in the loop on what we're seeing on our customer base as far as the migration process goes. Okay, total pivot. So if you're having trouble with Windows 10, Windows 11 upgrades, let us know. If you're already fully migrated and you're seeing this on like LinkedIn or something, you can react with like a little celebration emoji. I think that's an option on LinkedIn, right? I mean, LinkedIn's basically just like it's like Instagram for entrepreneurs these days, anyway, right? We should have all the emoji reactions on LinkedIn. Sorry, Microsoft, please don't find me. The next thing I want to talk about is something that's coming very shortly. We announced it a couple of months back, and that's device inventory via the device details page in Automox. Steph, why don't you give us a quick overview of what that is and why we built it?
Yeah, so we're doing two things, right? We're redesigning the device details page itself, and then bringing to you all these new data points. Like Linux has over 200, Mac has over 200, Windows has over 300 new data points about your inventory, right? So we're showing you things like here are the last 5 logged in users. Here's info about secure tokens. That's a whole workflow on Mac that we're giving some more visibility into. And we did it so that you can start making better decisions, incorporating this. It's a stepping stone, right? So here's the data, and then you're going to be able to use it in some of these other future products, like what are we doing with the device explorer and how are we building dynamic groups? And then you can start leveraging some of those data points to build those groups and help automate things for you based on that. So this is really just a step one. We're adding stuff like the agent status, which is really cool. That's coming in the redesign. Nothing works if the agent's not working, right? So we bubble it up. It's easier to consume. And just a ton of new data attributes. Like I said, this is really just the beginning. Like here, we're going to surface this. Originally, I'll help you with troubleshooting, right? Give you all these other data points that you don't have today. And that's important, but it's not as important as what you're going to be able to do with it once we have things like dynamic groups and stuff like that. And pulling some of that into analytics and how you're reporting on things. So we're excited about it. Like I said, a lot of value at first, and even more value when you get to some of these things that are going to help you automate tasks and things like that.
Yeah, and I think what we're all really excited for is a longer term vision that actually isn't so long term anymore. It's closer than we think, and that's around using all this data to help drive really filtered, really targeted automation. So we'll hopefully have a lot more details to share in the coming months and quarters of the Product Talk podcast there. So a lot of excitement, I know, on my side as a product marketer, but I'm sure on the engineering and product side too.
Yeah.
Great. Well, a couple of small announcements. I think the first one is exciting if you're a Linux person, and that's official support for RHEL 10 is now available. Just a reminder, if you're interested in getting like these smaller updates and you're not a regular listener podcast, you can subscribe to the Automox technical release feed. You can find that within the documentation. There's a page for it. You can also subscribe to emails to get updates on UX enhancements, iterative improvements, things that we wouldn't typically do like a true press release for, so to speak. But you would still want to be in the loop as an Automox customer on. So check out that feed, subscribe to it. Speaking of announcements, this podcast will release kind of towards the end of June, I believe. But keep your ear to the ground from us in the mid-July timeframe. We have some exciting announcements coming from our side. We have a lot of stuff in analytics that we've been talking about. We have some more stuff coming that we're really excited about. We have a ton of reports on the docket and already released. So if you are interested in reporting in Automox, keep an eye out for that stuff because we have a lot of good things coming there. Excellent. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. Hopefully you're all already fully migrated to Windows 11, but if you're not, hopefully you found some of the information that we discussed today useful. Let us know how it's going on social, your migration of Windows to Windows 11. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today, and we will talk to you all on next month's Product Talk podcast. See you soon.
See you in July.